Hey, how's it going? Welcome back. And go over what we're doing on the car. CV axle. Underneath the car, sure enough, the CV boot is broken off. And yeah, let me show you what we got going on. For the axle nut, just so you know, I use my jack pipe and just a wrench. This is a 6.32 mil. Trying to get this nut off. So I tried having my wife hold the brake and spin it, but it's on there too tight. I didn't think this thing would work, have enough power. And sure enough, I'm correct, it doesn't. So when I go do the axles, what I'm thinking I'm gonna end up doing is I'm gonna put the wheel back on this side, drop this side of the car down, and then just leave that side jacked up. That way, with the car being tilted, hopefully I don't lose as much oil out of the transmission. So we're gonna try and get this axle nut off. I tried using a ratchet and I just broke the ratchet. And so now we're gonna go to an impact. Done. Woohoo, finally. So the plan is we're gonna jack up the car, put that side on a jack stand, that side's gonna stay on the ground, so that way everything is tilted. Before we jack the car off, before we jack the car up, we gotta break these lug nuts loose so we can get the wheel off. Okay, so the first step is we got this nut off right there, as you saw. And while we're here, just in case anybody's wondering, this is just a spacer for the wheels. It's a hub spacer. So when you got wheels that have a bigger hub diameter than what's here, this is just a spacer that helps get everything lined up perfectly. I don't know how necessary they are because I've went years without using these things, but they're cheap enough, so it doesn't hurt anything. And so while we're here, in case anybody else has questions, so the brake caliper's off of a Nissan Altima SER. So is the brake rotor. And so is the hub assembly is also off of an Altima. So that's how we got the 5-lug conversion up here, just in case anybody's curious. So the next thing I'm doing is I'm just taking off these 2 bolts. I'm just using a 3/8 drive with a 1/2-inch adapter to a 1/2-inch 17mm. To get the leverage, I'm just using my trusty old jack handle. I can then either continue using this, or I can be fancy and use this. All right, so this is how I got it tilted, and it is coming out. I'm just taking my wrench and a hammer basically to tap it to push the axle through. So just a little bit more to go and this axle should pop right out. And it is free. Next we're gonna go through and do what we gotta do on the other side. And I think there's like a middle bracket too holding it, if I recall. But yeah, we're gonna do all that later. I'm done for the night. I'll see you guys in like 2 seconds, but for me it'll be like a day. All right, so it's another day from the last footage you saw. So we're gonna continue on, and I know this is all gonna be in the same video. I did get some cotter pins, so I gotta put in when we get the new axle. I guess next step is to crawl underneath there, see if we can yank this axle off. So you have the axle coming from the brakes over to the transmission, about halfway through, right before your pipe here. Well, mine's disconnected, so I don't know if that really would make a difference or not. So you have a couple bolts, which is 12 millimeter. And at least the first one was pretty hard to, my first one was pretty hard to break loose. There it goes. So these bolts gotta come off. Look how greasy my car is. So let's see, how do we get to this top bolt? See the top bolt there. Okay, so I got all 3 bolts off. And we're just gonna yank this thing out. Oh, there it goes. It's coming out. Oh man, I got this thing falling on me. All right, let's see if we can just yank it out from here. There we go. And you know what? As far as I can tell, we did not leak any transmission fluid. There's the axle. Job done. Good job, me. So that's it. We're done. Everything went pretty smooth, actually. Besides the axle nut was a pain in the ass. I was kind of surprised how easy the axle actually slid out. I've dealt with ones where I've had to take pry bars and stuff to pop it out, but this came right out, which is really neat. That's my mess I made. So next step is we're gonna get a new axle, and I don't know, maybe I'll make a video on how to install the axle now that I got a video on how to take out your old axle. Anyway, thank you for watching. Aloha, peace out. My hands are filled with dirt and